Okay,
Hello
that's
everyone,
perfect.
welcome back to SGSH Publication. Today we have Pooja Jaswal ma'am with us, and she is the co-author of the book Warm of Love. So ma'am, first of all, I want to ask, how are you?
I am very well there. How are you?
I am also fine, thank you. So ma'am, you have participated in this anthology, and your poem is, little exciting about your mom. And so, what is the reason behind writing this poem, and what is actually in your thoughts about this poem?
Okay, so thank you for the question, by the way. So, my poem basically talks about my story of leaving my house for the very first time because I was in high school the previous year, and right now I'm enrolled in a university. It's my first year. So, that's about the bus journey basically that I have to take weekly when I switch between cities. And it is quite strange, I must say, because to travel without my mom, it seems really awkward at first because there are different types of people you've got to interact with, you've got to present and pose yourself as somebody who's really mature and has been doing this thing for maybe many years. So that's the backstory or the premise of my poem. And the thought was basically to help other people know how easy it is to get dependent on someone, especially your mother, and how difficult it can be to let go of those habits.
True. That's very exciting journey, I must say, because without parents, when we are kid, we have parents everywhere with us, but when we grew up a little bit, hands are just left. Okay, ma'am. So in your bio, you have written that I just want to be a kid. I don't want to grow up. So what is the meaning behind it?
So see, adulting is really hard, I must say, because it comes with a lot of responsibilities and accountability. You cannot just say, okay, I didn't know I'm not mature enough, because now you've got to step in the external world and you've got to be accountable and actually know the meaning of the actions that you exhibit in front of others. So being a kid doesn't bring a lot of responsibility. So that was my thought process behind saying that I just want to be a kid.
I really like that line because many times we want to be the adult in front of people, but at the end we all are child from inside, right? So that shows the our kidness because we all are the humans and we make the mistakes and we like the childhood because that that phase is something different. And ma'am, I want to ask, what is the one or two things that you want to always remember from your childhood? Any special memories of your childhood?
I have a lot of memories to be honest, but I do miss my school days the most because I used to be this bubbly kid. I'd be very authoritative and assertive in my conduct. And I think that is a personality trait I would like to get in my life further. And I think I also had really good support from my teachers and my friends in school as well. Of course, in addition to that of my parents. So I think that is a quality I would not want to lose even in future.
Okay, so I want to ask from your, subject, what was your favorite subject of reading?
In school, right?
Yeah, in school.
Well, I loved languages and literature. Ever since I was a kid, I would read the story a day before at home. And the next day, when the teacher was about to start the lesson, I just raised my hand and be like, I have read this lesson, let me tell you about it. So I was that kind of kid.
That's so awesome. And ma'am, when we was, young, when we are young, but we don't know what is the meaning of adulthood. So according to you, what is the true meaning of adulthood? Whether it's just taking the responsibility or anything else?
Well, ever since I was a child, I always used to think to myself, when is the school life going to end? But now, when I am stepping into adulthood, I think I should have waited and absorbed the moment more, assimilated it into my head. So, right now, I think adulthood is also about exploring and finding things about yourself as well. You've got to take things from your environment, from your surroundings, you've got to observe other people, analyze their tendencies and conducts. And I think adulthood is also trying to make a personality of your own by taking factors of other people. So I think adulthood is a lot of questions and it's all about finding answers to them. Or maybe not, or just enjoying the journey.
Yeah, definitely. I think life is all about answering the all the questions that is never ending process. And ma'am, what was your favorite things that you want to appreciate throughout your life? What are you grateful for?
That's a loaded question. I think I am grateful for all the people that I have in my life, and even those who are in the heaven above. Right now, I think God is looking after them. But I think gratitude comes from every being of me. When I wake up in the morning, I am grateful that I did get a chance to live another day to make a fresh start. That I am grateful for all the facilities that I have been provided in life. I am in a good place, touch wood. So I am grateful for that. In addition to that, I think not many people get a platform to express themselves like I do right now in front of you. So I think there is great opportunity as well. So I would say I'm a person who's full of gratitude.
Definitely. I think our life is grateful because we got so many things that others don't have. So yeah, it's a blessing. And ma'am, I want to ask that what is your experience in throughout your writing journey and when you get started the writing?
Okay, so that is a really interesting question. I still remember it very clearly. I was in grade third, and I suddenly had this idea to write a story. It was really dumb. It was something about Earth Day and a bunch of people just gathering up. They were children, and they sleep, and when they wake up, they're in some other world and they're trying to save the Earth. So that was my backstory of the very first story I wrote. I went to the class the other day and I said to my teacher, "Would you please read this out aloud?" The grammar was really bad. The spelling mistakes, oh my god. But I think that was when I started writing. Then I became the kid who wrote in school, and that was something that really prompted me to keep writing further. Then I explored multiple genres like horror or something of light character. Then I shifted to poetry as well. So I think that is how it started. Then coming up, I found multiple people, co-authors who were there online trying to publish their own books. I contributed to their books as ghost editor or ghost writer, and then I began writing some articles for newspapers and stuff. So I think that is how it's been for me so far.
Definitely, you have a long journey in writing. And ma'am, how was your experience in participating in all the anthologies? Because anthology is something different where people expect just, the content, publishing, and then certificate. But when you have to write something for anthology, and there are many people who write it, but how you feel that your content is little different from others? Have you ever found that your content is little different and unique?
So I'm a person who loves analyzing text. Give me a paragraph and I tell you 10 under themes that it has in it. So I think anthology, first of all, gave me a purpose. I got to read the content of other people. And a lot of people, what they do is they submit their entry and that's it. But what I do, as long as I have the manuscripts coming, I read every single one that I can.
Wow.
Unless there is language that I don't understand, which would be really unfortunate. So I read those and then I compare my own writings to theirs, and I realize that not everybody has same experiences. You know, there are a lot of types of people in the world, and their experience is different from that of mine. So of course, I gain some exposure from that, and I realize that I tend to write in free verse usually, and my style of writing is more expressive than it is formal. But there are certain writers who prefer to follow specific structure, or they have stanzas that rhyme and stuff. So I think there are a lot of learning opportunities from that as well.
Definitely, I think this is what I found very different from all the others co-authors because not everyone do read all the content. In fact, I know some people who don't read their own content after submitting the content. So that's the great thing. I must appreciate you. And ma'am, what are the things that what's your hobby? Like what you want to do in your free time except writing or reading?
Except writing or reading, well, you've taken my favorite things out from the scene. That is really hard. So,
What's your
well, and I
hobby in short?
my hobby is reading and writing, to be honest. But I would love to take an idle walk in the nature as well, just a coffee or espresso in my hand, and an ideal day to do nothing, nothing to look forward to watch the sunrise or sunset. So I think that's a pretty good day in my life.
Definitely, it's also a good habit to have. And ma'am, this is the bomb of love, mother anthology, motherhood based on. So, what was the one message you want to give your mother?
So I am an only child, and my mother has always been my closest friend. She's been somebody I can always confide in. I don't think I've ever hidden something major from her. So my message to her would be, "Ma, I know you're out there, and I'm always there for you. Thank you for all that you do for me."
I think she will happy to hear that because sometimes we fight with our parents and we feel that they are not correct in some way. But how was your experience with your parents throughout the journey? Whether it's ups and down or always you can understand them.
Well, we've had disagreements. They rarely turn into arguments, though, because I think we're very open about our thoughts. If there's something that I believe that I lack knowledge in, I sit down and hear their thoughts before expressing my own. But I've always been an outspoken child, so yes, we've had our fair share of disagreements, but at the end, we're a nuclear and happy family, so there's nothing that sort of major in our lives.
Definitely, that's a nice one. And ma'am, what's your plan of your writing in upcoming years, like 3 to 5 years? What your plan? Like you want to publish a book or what you want to do with the writing?
Well, interestingly enough, just last month I've happened to publish a book of my own on Amazon, so I think that is a good start as any. And then I think there are a lot of novels that are waiting on my PC for me to get started on. I have a thriller, I have a fantasy, I have a short story, and I have a collection of poetry. So I think I would like to devote my time and at least publish two to three of them.
Definitely. What's your favorite book in all the genre?
Okay, so recently I've been rereading Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. I think he's become a comfort author of my own, though his daddy issues may be concerning to a lot of people. But I think if we understand his personality, his identity, how he's basically lost kid on his own and he's just trying to figure life, he's trying to find comfort in other people, and he fails miserably in several contexts. There are other people who influence his life, but I think there is a better, sweet tone to his writing, and that is something that tends to inspire me a lot.
That's great. And ma'am, what was your, your experience throughout your life, and what was the down phase, and how you faced those challenges, and what you learned from those challenges?
I think I am a person who gives more than she accepts from other people. And you know how they say if you keep draining out all your energy, there will be one point in your life when you have no more energy to give up anymore. So I think that happens frequently, more frequently than I think it should. And that is something I am trying to work in 2025 to have a routine of my own, to not allow other people's energies to reflect or influence my own. So that is a challenge I do face. Other than that, I think procrastination is something I struggle with a lot because there's just so much to do in life. I've got to write, I've got to read, I've got to have that coffee with my friend in that cafe that's recently opened. So I think juggling between tasks is something I struggle with at times.
Definitely, I think through procrastination is with everyone, but we have to prioritize which needs to be done first. And ma'am, the my last question is, how was your experience with SGSH publication and throughout this anthology with compiler and others?
Okay, so my experience has been really smooth to be very honest. Whenever I have a question, I get responded very frequently, very quickly. It's not like I'm being ghosted or something, which is a really good sign because I have worked with several compilers before, and the experience tends to differ. Sometimes they're not very available. But in here, I was very content and very satisfied that my write-up was in very good hands. So I would say it was a 10 on 10 experience.
Definitely. Thank you, ma'am, for your review. And my last, final last question is, if you want to ask me something, you can. Then we can end this meeting.
Okay, I would like to ask you, am I dressed properly enough for this? Because I did receive a very specific instruction to be in a proper banner and everything.
Actually, I have just recently started taking the interviews because I want to explore the how it works. So it is definitely wonderful to interviewing you because I just loved your first line of your bio that I want to be with kid. I don't want to be in adulthood. So that's the best line I can say from your whole experience. And ma'am, I just want to say, be keep this that inner child in your heart because we all are child, and I just want that line you keep continue posting everywhere because when we see that line, that somewhere people understood that yeah, someone think like me. So it's a wonderful to interviewing you. Thank you very much for taking time out for this interview, and I had a great experience with you. Thank you.
That's good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Spread goodness, spread happiness.